Hey guys, I've got a wonderful, exciting video for you today. I'm excited for so many reasons. Let's just start off with letting you know that we're going to be talking about Mel Thompson's collaboration with Sydney Grace. She has created an eyeshadow palette. Oh my God. It is called the Tiny Marvels Eyeshadow Palette, and it has 15 beautiful shades with a nice mixture of different finishes. So the other reason why I'm really excited for this video is that I'm doing it in collaboration with some of my favorite YouTubers. This is not the first time I'm collabing with these ladies, but I'm going to be collabing with Lisa J Makeup, who is the brains and the beauty behind BK Beauty, some of my favorite brushes. She is absolutely wonderful. She is one of the nicest, kindest, sweetest ladies here on YouTube, anywhere actually. She is just one of the nicest, sweetest people that I know, full stop. So Lisa J Makeup is collabing with me along with Kelsee Brianna J. I couldn't be more honored because, as we know, she is Mel Thompson's best friend. I became aware of her through Mel Thompson. She is an incredibly talented makeup artist, and I'm just so happy that she's involved in this collaboration. We also have Chelsea from Glam Girl Chelsea. She is also going to be doing 2 looks, but we'll get to that in just a second. And we also have Alicia of Kinky Sweat here in this collaboration. So 5 of us are going to be collabing. So because there's 5 of us, we wanted to make sure that we used all of the shades in the palette, obviously, so that we could show the versatility of this palette. So what we've done is we created these quads, and each of us picked 2 quads. So each of us are going to be doing 2 different looks, involving at least 4 of the shades that were quote unquote assigned to us. So I'm really excited. This is look number 1. I'll also be showing you a look number 2 towards the end of the video. Definitely check down below for some timestamps if you're interested, but I'm going to be giving you some thoughts on this palette first and giving you some swatches. So a huge thank you to Lisa, Kelsee, Chelsea, and Alicia for including me in this collaboration. I couldn't be happier, but I really couldn't be more honored to be doing it with these ladies. So thank you so much. And another big thank you to Mel and to Sydney Grace for sending over this palette to me. When I got in the mail, I was so overjoyed. So a little bit about this palette. So it's called the Tiny Marvels. Look at that fun artwork on here. And I'm going to read part of the included card on here with Mel's beautiful picture. Look at her. Oh my God. It says, "Hey beauties." She is a longtime lover of tiny creatures, tattoos, colorful creations, and of course, makeup. And she wanted to bring it all together in this one palette. So she says, "The shades of my palette are based on the colors and tiny critters that I have tattooed on my body. I selected an array of neutral nudes, pops of pastel, and vivid splashes of color. I hope these tiny marvels bring you as much joy as they do me. This palette is my vision, now make it yours." This palette is so gorgeous. Let me give you a close-up shot of it. So here it is, all 15 shades. We have some satins, we have some mattes, we have some metallics, we have some duochromes. Absolutely gorgeous. And just a quick word on the packaging. This is cardboard packaging with a magnetic closure, and there's a nice big mirror on the inside. And all the shade names are written right underneath each shade, which is so great. And then on the back, we have the ingredients in a font size that normal people can read. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then it says that we have an 18-month shelf life once it's been opened. So let me go ahead and show you the swatches. What I did was I swatched from left to right, top to bottom. So all the way on the left here, we have Web, which is a satin, Tree Hopper, which is matte, Fire Butts, which is a metallic, Walk and Stick, which is a matte, Scarab, which is a duochrome, Flutterbee, which is matte, BB, which is metallic, Mantis, which is matte, Meadowhawk, which is a duochrome, Lovebug, which is a matte, Jewel Bee, which is a matte, Marvel, which is a metallic, Death Moth, which is matte, Bugaboo, which is matte, and Spider, which is matte. So many of you have commented, "Can you please try Sydney Grace shadows? Can you please try Sydney Grace shadows?" And every time I go onto the site and try and order a palette that I've seen or that I've been interested, it's always been sold out. So I have very little experience with Sydney Grace shadows. I purchased 3 of their singles when they were still Feather River Body. Does anyone remember that? They used to be called Feather River Body and then they changed to Sydney Grace. And since then, I just haven't been able to get my hands on their shadows. But the fact that they're always sold out really speaks volumes about how beautiful their shadows are, how popular their shadows are, and the quality of them. And I know every time I've watched a video of Mel's where she's talked about Sydney Grace shadows, she has spoken so highly of them, and I've been dying to try them. So I was so excited to play with this, and the shadows really lived up to its reputation. They are really, really soft and easy to blend, and they're a little bit more pigmented than the shadows that I'm used to using. I really like soft, you know, soft eyeshadows. I go for like one shadow looks. I don't really do complicated eye looks, and so I was definitely a little bit intimidated by them, but they are really easy to use. I was so surprised at how easily some of the deeper shades just sort of blended out. They didn't lose their pigmentation. They didn't blend to nothing, but they blended so that, you know, they could work with other shadows. They worked on my lighter skin tone. Just really absolutely gorgeous. The shadows definitely are on the softer side. So when I put my brush in there, when I, you know, kind of dip into the shade, there is a little bit of kick up, but I think it's that softness that really helps its blendability. I really like that about the formula. This color story is so unique. You know, after seeing so many eyeshadow palettes come out, you see, you know, color stories being recycled, you see color stories being reused, and like, you know, a pop shadow kind of just being added to make it look a little bit different. This one is truly, truly unique. And I can't say I'm surprised. Mel has such a creative eye that this is like just, it's so perfectly her. They're beautiful shadows, like this jewel bee color, this mantis color. They're so much fun. But I love how, like she said, there are enough neutrals in here that you can create just a very kind of basic, everyday kind of looks that I'm used to, and then just use one of these other shadows as a pop. I love that about this palette, that there's just plenty of neutrals. Like all of these are neutrals. These are all pretty much neutrals. This is a neutral. Like they're all over. You have a few pops here that keep this palette really, really fun and interesting and so Mel, but it doesn't make it unusable in any way. It's just such a great usable palette. So the two quote unquote quads that I'm going to be using, the first one is this upper right hand corner here. So Walk and Stick, Scarab, Meadowhawk, and Lovebug. And that's what I have on my eyes. And for look number 2, I have to incorporate these 4 shadows. So Firebutts, Tree Hopper, Web, and Flutterbee. So the demo for this quad you'll see towards the end of my video. I had so much fun creating these looks. This palette really is a wonderful balance between usability and uniqueness. So congratulations, Mel. Congratulations, Sydney Grace. This is such a winner in my book. It is really, really gorgeous. So let's go ahead and jump into my first demo, which is of this look. All right, so we are going to do my look number 1, which is going to incorporate these 4 shades up here in this corner. So I have to use those 4 colors. I think I may be incorporating some other colors, but I'm definitely going to be using those 4. So I'm going to go in with a really fluffy blender brush and use Walk and Stick as a transition shade. It's a little bit deeper than what I usually use for a transition shade, so I'm gonna use a really fluffy brush. So I've got my Esom G34 brush, and I'm just going to dip the tips of the brush in just ever so lightly. Of course, you can always build up, but it's very, very difficult to tone down eyeshadow. So I'm just going to dab on the outer corner here. These shadows are very pigmented. This shade is so interesting because it's kind of like a brown, kind of like a green, but there's like a mustard undertone. It's so cool. And I actually really love shades with a mustard undertone for transition shades. For some reason, those shades work really well for me. So I am loving this so far. I'm just adding a little bit more here. All right, I feel like we have some good like dimension going. I am going to, I really love this Meadowhawk shade. So I think I'm gonna put that over most of my lid, and I'm going to use like a flat shader for that. Let me just find the right one. So I'm gonna take my BK Beauty 206 brush. So it's one of those flat shader blender type brushes. I'm gonna go into Meadowhawk, and I'm going to press and swipe Ooh, what a pretty color. And then I'm going to take another flat shader brush. This is a Refer brush. I'm going to go into Scarab and apply that to like the outer corner of my eye and blend it into Meadowhawk. These are two shifty shades, so I'm really interested to see like how they combine. Ooh, how pretty. And when I am looking at my lids, I do feel like I'm seeing like bugs. Sometimes if you get a close-up look at like a fly, like their eyes, it has that like really iridescent look to it. That's exactly what I feel like I'm seeing where like all of these colors meet. And now I'm gonna take just a little bit of this Love Bug color. It's this matte shade over here. And I think I'm gonna use that to kind of transition this portion of the eye. So I'm gonna grab like a really small blender brush. So I've got my Refer number 13 brush and I just dipped it into Love Bug, just the tips of it. And I'm just going to drag that like right over that shadow and bring it up towards the brow. I'm gonna take that large blender that I started with and really work that in. I am going to dip it back into that Walk-in Stick color and use that to blend out that Love Bug shade. Wow, this looks super 80s. I love it. I'm gonna take the same brush. I'm actually gonna go into Tree Hopper. Since I've already used my 4 shades, I'm gonna use Tree Hopper, which is a lighter matte shade, more like a camel color. And this is probably something I would typically use as a transition, but I'm just going to graze that over all of these shades up here right underneath my brow bone. We're just really gonna lean into this 80s look. Oof, yes, we are really working the 80s. Okay, I am going to add some eyeliner, some much needed mascara, and I will be right back. Before I put on the mascara, I do wanna add a little bit of shadow to my lower lash line. So I'm gonna add the Scarab color, which is this dark metallic shade. I'm gonna add that just right underneath my eyes there. And I'm gonna take this BK Beauty 204 brush. All right, so I just added that Scarab to my lower lash line. I'm loving it. And now I'm just gonna curl my lashes and add some really volumizing mascara. So I've got the Westman Atelier I Love You mascara in clean black. All right, I have my favorite Pat McGrath shade, which is Los Angeles in the Luxe Trance finish. So this isn't exactly mauve. It has some mauve undertones in there, but it is like a very cool light nude color. And then I wanted to top it off with the Pat McGrath gloss in Bronze Venus. This has that iridescence that eyeshadow has. I just think it's such the perfect match. So here's my look number 1 all done. I'll have all of, the details of what I have on my face for this look down below in my description box. And let's go ahead and take a look at look number 2. All right, are you guys ready for look number 2? We are gonna be focusing on these 4 shades: Firebutts, Tree Hopper, Web, and Flutterbee. So this is gonna be a much softer look, I'm thinking. At least that's what I'm going for. Look number 1 was a little bit more dramatic. We were using these much like darker, more dramatic shades. So I'm gonna start with Tree Hopper, which is the matte shade in here that I would gravitate towards in terms of a transition shade. So I'm gonna go in with my BK Beauty 202 brush. It's like a nice fluffy blender brush. And same drill, I'm gonna put it on my outer corner and bring it up into my socket line area here. I mentioned this when I did my look number 1 when I used this Walk-in Stick shade as my transition, but the Tree Hopper shade has the same kind of like very slight mustardy undertone, which I love for transition shades. I don't know what it is. It must be my skin tone or something, but I just think it works so well. And sometimes when you see like a mustard kind of based or toned shade in the pan, I think it looks a little scary, at least for me. It looks a little off-putting, but once you get it on the lid, I don't know, it's something like kind of magical about that tone. And then what I think I'm gonna do, I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but I think I'm going to put Flutterby down all over my lid. So this is like a matte peach shade. And then I'm going to layer the fire butts on top. I kind of want to see how like the metallics and the mattes kind of layer one on top of the other. I do get the feeling that the fire butts is fairly opaque, so I'm not sure if we're going to see the Flutterby through it, but let's go ahead and try. So I'm just going to grab my Hakuhodo S142 brush, and I'm going to grab some of the Flutterby. Just apply this all over the lid. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in like the first half of my video or even during look number 1, but something that really stands out to me too about these shadows is that they're very, very true to color. So sometimes shades like this, and even sometimes shades like this Tree Hopper, they'll just kind of show up a little bit differently on the lids. Maybe they'll warm up a little bit, maybe they'll cool down a little bit, but these have been very, very true to what I see in the pan onto my lids, and that I think is really, really awesome. There are no surprises. I'm just gonna grab a brush that's a little fluffier. Okay, I just cleaned off the original BK Beauty brush, the 202 brush that I was using. I just really like this shape, so I'm just gonna continue using this one. I'm gonna go into Flutterby. Yeah, that other Hakuhodo brush was fine. It was just, you know, kind of taking a while to get it all over the lid. I love this Flutterby shade. I mean, it's just a straight up matte peach color, but it glows. It's really, really pretty. All right, next I'm gonna grab my Hakuhodo. This has a long name. It's S133HS, and I'm going to grab that Fire Butts color, this metallic shade. And I'm hoping to be able to sweep this on kind of in a sheer way so that the Flutterby can shine through. Wow. That is just with like the little, I picked up the littlest amount because I really wanted to kind of sheer it out, but this is so beautiful. I'm gonna go back to my blending brush and just drag it along the edge here and sweep it over the fire butts too. I really want that Flutterby, that peachiness to kind of come through. I'm gonna go back into Tree Hopper, which was that original transition shade, and just deepen out that outer corner again. Oof, I love this combo of the fire butts and the Flutterby. I have one last shade I have to use, which is Web, and this is just like, you know, like a cream satin color. So I think what I'm gonna do is use it to highlight my brow bone and maybe just dot some into my inner corners. Let's see how that works. So I've got my Sonia G mini booster brush, and just gonna brush that underneath my brows and then just dot some right here. Now I do want to line my eyes with the shadow, so I've already used the 4 that I'm supposed to use, and I have not gotten a chance to use Death Moth yet, so I'm going to use this shade to just line my upper lash line and my lower lash line. I've got my Esom T05 brush. I'm just going to dip it right into Death Moth and just wiggle it into my lash line. I like going in from underneath. There, a really soft liner look. Ooh, I like that. All right, I'm just gonna finish up with some mascara, and I'll be right back to put on some lips for you. All right, with look number 1, I really wanted something kind of cool toned with like a little grayish undertone just to kind of go with the look. And today with this Flutterby, I really think I need to do something peachy, something nude, and of course, I have to use Mel's Christian Audette collaboration in the shade Beauty. I just think this is like the perfect match. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. We'll see if maybe I wanna add a little bit of gloss or something after. All right, there is Beauty. I feel like this is like the perfect nude for my skin tone. I love it. Let's add a little bit of gloss to it just to kind of play around. And again, because there's so much like shimmer on my eyelids, I feel like that'll be a nice compliment. I think something like this Tower 28 would be really great. This is in the shade Magic, and there's kind of like a gold shimmer to it, but it also like kind of shifts to one of those icy blue purple shades. It's such an interesting lip gloss, but I think it'll look really beautiful with this eye look because it kind of reminds me of that Fire Butts shade a little bit. Ooh, fun. Yeah, I think that added like just enough little like kick in there to kind of tie it in with the eye look. So here is the final look number 2. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and a huge, huge congratulations to Mel and to Sydney Grace on this Absolutely gorgeous, incredibly unique eyeshadow palette. I think it is stunning. I love the huge range of shades in here. I love all of the different finishes that you have, from like mattes all the way up to like duochromes. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Huge congratulations. And do not forget to check out Lisa J Makeup, Kelsee Brianna J, Alicia over at Kinky Sweat, and Glam Girl Chelsea. I'll have links to their videos down below. They're going to be using different combinations of shadows from this palette. And again, we really wanted to just show the versatility of this palette and all the shades in here. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.